15 Things You Didn't Know About Tony Robbins. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Aluxers, and welcome to another captivating original video presented by Alux.com. Today we're looking at a motivational speaker, best-selling author, self-help guru, and businessman Tony Robbins. Robbins was born on February 29, 1960 in Hollywood, California. After a difficult childhood, he went out on his own and started promoting seminars for motivational speaker Jim Rohn. From there, Tony developed his own business as a self-help coach and began hosting seminars. His business began to take off when he started producing infomercials to advertise his books and services. Over the years, Tony has helped countless celebrities, powerful businessmen, and everyday people through his individual coaching, weekend seminars, books, and philanthropy. His celebrity clients include Serena Williams, Leonardo DiCaprio, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Clinton, Chuck Liddell, and Hugh Jackman. Over 40 years in the business, he remains as relevant and successful as ever, with a net worth of around $480 million and about $30 million earned annually. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Let's look now at the 15 things you didn't know about Tony Robbins. Number 1. His mother kicked him out of the house as a teenager. Tony's parents divorced when he was 7, and then his mother had a series of boyfriends and husbands. One of her husbands was a semi-professional baseball player named Jim Robbins, who legally adopted Tony when he was 12. When his adopted father abandoned the family, Robbins had to step in as a provider and work to support his siblings. His mother turned to alcohol and prescription drugs, and Tony described his home life as chaotic and abusive. When he was 17 years old, his mother chased him out of the house with a knife, and Tony never returned. He reconciled with his mother much later and even bought her a beach house in 1991. Number 2. He grew 10 inches in 1 year because of a tumor. Everyone knows that Tony Robbins is really tall, but most people don't realize this is due to a medical condition. In his sophomore year in high school, Tony was 5 feet 1 inch tall, and over the next year, he grew 10 inches. Nobody knew at the time that he had actually had a pituitary tumor that caused the growth. His height is now 6'7". Number 3. He worked as a janitor. After he was kicked out of the house, Tony took a job as a janitor where he was making $40 a week. He then started on his own career path when he started working for motivational speaker Jim Rohn. His job was to call people and convince them to go to Jim's motivational seminars. Jim took him under his wing and taught him to not ask that life would be easier, but that he would be better. Number 4. He started gaining recognition when he cured somebody's snake phobia in 15 minutes. When Tony made the claim that he could cure somebody's phobia in 15 minutes, he was publicly attacked on the radio by a psychiatrist who said he was nothing but a charlatan and a liar. Tony challenged her to bring her patient suffering from a phobia of snakes to the Holiday Inn, and the following night, he would prove himself. It became a bit of a media spectacle, but Tony was up for the challenge. The woman who had been suffering from a paralyzing fear of snakes for 7 years was cured by Tony in less than 15 minutes and actually allowed Tony to wrap a snake around her shoulders with no fear. Accepting challenges became a signature move of Tony's and helped to elevate his career. Number 5. Tony charges businesses a consulting fee of $1 million for his services. Among his other endeavors, Tony offers executive consulting and business coaching services. Tony has trained a number of coaches that can be hired by businesses through the Tony Robbins Results Coaching Program. But if you want to hire Tony himself, you have to be ready to pay up. Tony is the most expensive business coach with a fee of $1 million per year, in addition to sharing the company's profits for the year. He claims he can bring a return on investment of up to 700% more than the initial investment. Number 6. He plans to feed 1 billion people in the next 10 years. Tony was extremely poor growing up, and his family struggled to buy food. When he was 17 and first started having money for himself, he paid for 2 families' Thanksgiving dinners. The next year, he fed 4 families and tried to double it every year. When he found real success, he started buying Thanksgiving dinner for 4 million people every year for 12 years. When he received a $5 million advance for his 2017 book called Unshakable, Your Financial Freedom Playbook, he gave all the money to a charity called Feeding America. He then asked the group how much it would cost to feed 100 million people, and he says he wrote them a much bigger check to make that happen. He plans on feeding 1 billion people over the next 10 years. Number 7. During one day of his seminar, Tony's activity is the equivalent of running a marathon. Tony says that on his most intense day in his seminars, his activity is the equivalent of running a marathon. He is very active during his seminars, running and walking and interacting with the audience. He regularly does 27 miles in one day, all while staying on stage and presenting his program. The activity does take a toll on his body, but Tony says he uses cryotherapy to help his body recover. Cryotherapy involves getting into a machine for an intense several minutes, where your body is cooled with the use of liquid nitrogen to temperatures that are sometimes even colder than negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 8. He owns a mansion near Palm Beach, Florida. Tony travels about 200 days a year, but the other days, he comes home to a $24.75 million beachfront mansion in Palm Beach County. He looked at 88 properties in 3 states in just 3 weeks before purchasing the newly built home, and he decided to move to Florida because they have no income tax. He stays in the first floor master suite, and there are 5 additional bedrooms upstairs. Other features include an infinity pool, nearly 200 feet of private beach, a 50-foot boat dock, and 2 acres of land. Number 9. His favorite music artist is Diddy. Tony thinks listening to music increases productivity and can provide motivation. He loves rap music and says he especially loves any song by Diddy. Number 10. Bill Clinton called him for advice before he was impeached. In 1998, Bill Clinton found himself in hot water when he lied about his relationship with Monica Lewinsky while giving testimony in a sexual harassment lawsuit filed against him by Paula Jones. The night before he was impeached, Clinton reached out to Tony Robbins and asked for advice. Tony told Clinton to think about what he wanted his legacy to be and to choose his actions carefully, because at the end of the day, he had to be able to look himself in the face. If you want to find out some more about Bill Clinton, click in the upper right-hand corner to check out our video of 15 things you didn't know about Bill Clinton. Number 11. Tony declined to help A-Rod. Tony is approached by an untold number of people every year who want his help and advice. One person who reached out to Tony was former Yankees baseball star Alex Rodriguez, otherwise known as A-Rod. He called Tony while he was caught up with some controversy while he was still a part of the Yankees, but Tony said he simply didn't have the time to help him. Number 12. He owns a 5-star resort in Fiji. Robbins' favorite place in the world is the Namali Resort and Spa in Fiji. He loves it so much that he bought it. The 5-star all-inclusive resort is where Tony hosts some of his life and wealth mastery seminars. Oprah listed the resort as one of her favorite things in 2012, but you practically have to have Oprah's deep pockets to stay there. A one-night stay in June starts at $1,145. Number 13. He first declined his role in Shallow Hal. Tony Robbins plays himself in the 2001 Farrelly Brothers movie Shallow Hal, but it took some convincing. At first, he declined the role because he wasn't interested in acting, but when he received the script and saw the message of the movie was embracing inner beauty and not being a surface-driven person, he reconsidered. What really convinced him to do the movie was finding out that the writer of the script had purchased Tony's personal power audio program off an infomercial years prior. However, Tony was not a fan of the lines written for him, so he asked if he could improvise. He said that when he smacked Jack Black on the head in a scene and said, "Devils come out," that Jack had no idea it was coming, and the reaction on camera was real. Number 14. He bought a private jet in 2015. After years of flying commercial and chartering private jets, Tony finally decided to buy his own. He bought a Bombardier Global Express XRS from Mickey Arison, the owner of the Miami Heat and the Carnival Cruise Line, for an estimated cost of $50 million. Number 15. He met both of his wives at his seminars. He met his first wife, Becky Jenkins, at one of his seminars, and they married in 1982. He adopted the 3 children she had from her 2 former marriages. While married, he had a child with a former girlfriend, Liz Acosta, in 1984. Their son's name is Jarek and is now a motivational speaker as well. Tony divorced his first wife in 1996 and met his second wife, Sage Humphrey, in 1999 at another one of his seminars. The two were married in 2011. Now that you've learned more about Tony Robbins, do you think his self-help business is genuine or that he takes advantage of people? Let us know what you think in the comments. Still here? Here's a bonus fact just for you. Tony said that if he could change one thing about himself, he would make himself smaller so that he could fit into normal cars and clothes. Thank you for spending some time with us, A-Luxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.